Hello everyone and welcome to another How Loose Season Review. This evening I am reviewing Planet, published by Blue Orange Games and designed by Urtis Sulinskas and illustrations by Sabrina Miramon. I do apologize. I am sure I mispronounced those, but an excellent game here. Blue Orange Games has continued to pull out these family style games that just have this table presence, and that's what Planet is. And it is a great strategic game, but very simple when it comes down to actual gameplay and everything. And yet introducing this element of creating a a 3D world that you can hold in your palm. And it is just so satisfying to put you and create these planets. So very cool. So let's go ahead and show you what comes in the box. You get 4 of these planet cores, and I've been really impressed with the production quality here. You can actually see with the lighting there that there's just a little recess in there, and then a magnet here. And I tell you what, one of my biggest things here was, well, are these magnets powerful enough? Are they going to work? And you know what? They do significantly well. You can see also, besides the magnet being recessed down in there, you can see that there's ridges around as well. And you can see a completed world here. It's not completely flush down there, but the ridges help hold it in place. But I've not had an issue at all with pieces falling off. And so if you had that same concern, don't worry about it. I have not had that happen at all. So very nice production quality with the little magnet on the planet core and these little tiles. They have a nice finish on there, and then they're attached to these magnets. And again, it doesn't seem very big, but it works so well. I'm just really impressed with it. As far as kids go, I will say one thing to keep in mind when you're playing with kids. I think they will hold up really well. I have not had any issues with it, like the magnet pulling away or anything like that. But if some of the kids have some fingernails and they are not fully, they're just pulling it at the very top, I could see that damaging these tiles. So really just make sure your kids or whoever you're playing with, make sure you tell them, try to go ahead and get completely underneath it before you pull it off when you need to do that, okay? So that is one thing there, but you have 50 of these magnetic tiles, and they're split up, as you can see right here, into 5 triangle sections. Since we have this pentagon shape, and we have 5 little triangles. And game setup, very simple. The rule book, I'll just show you right here. Object of the game components, big diagram of like setup and everything. That's basically it. They talk at the end of the game, some different variations, but very simple. This is a setup of the game right here, the traditional game. Missing a few tiles just because I wanted to present to you a completed planet. But you'd have 5 stacks of 5 tiles here, and you have a bunch of different rounds. The first 2 rounds, you're not going to have any end of round scoring. And then the remainder, you can see I have all these animal cards out here. And this is how we are going to acquire points throughout the game. So everyone's going to start with a planet core that is blank. You go to this first round here. You're going to flip over the tiles. And I forgot one thing, so I'm going to We flip those over. At the very beginning of the game, what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle up these natural habitat cards. You're going to flip them over when you get it. It's going to be a secret, basically, end game scoring for you. And what that means, everyone, there's, forest and desert and mountain and water and ice. And did I say forest? I can't remember. Anyway, you have all these different color regions, different habitats, right? And you will get bonus points at the end of the game for each area of that color on your planet. So if I get this one, I really want to get as many deserts as I can, because it could potentially get me lots and lots of points. So at the end of the game, you're going to count up each area, which is each little triangle. So this would be 2 yellow or desert tiles. If I had all of these on my planet, I would have a total of 3 desert tiles or desert areas. And you're going to count up all those triangles. And if you hit 13, you're going to get 2 points at the end of the game, 15, 4, and so on. The other element that gets into this, and I'll explain how how you get these cards. But basically, for every card animal that I get that matches my color, it's going to be worth 1 point at the end of the game. So again, people don't necessarily know. Depending on how you play the game, you can throw people off. But anyway, so they may not know, if I get the snake, they don't know if it's 1 or 2 points necessarily. But yeah, so if it matches, it's 1 point. If it doesn't match, if I get, this squirrel, the green card, I get 2 points for this. So every animal that does not match your natural habitat, you actually get 2 points. And that's just a balancing thing, right? Because if I have this natural habitat and I'm trying to get a lot of yellow, it's very likely that I'm going to get most of these other yellow cards. And so it's kind of this incentive and pull of, well, if I can get, this green one, even though I don't have a lot of green, but if I can meet that requirement and get it, I'm going to get an additional point. So that's how this plays. There is a variant where you don't play with these, and I would actually recommend that if you're going to play it with younger kids, just to keep it simple. And then it just gets to the point where all of these are 1 point, and you're not focusing necessarily on trying to get a bunch of one color. So that's really what it is it's you get to the first player token, and you pick a tile. Okay, I want this tile. You're going to place it, pick it, and place it on your your planet. And then you're going to pass these tiles to the next player. And, you can actually choose your tile and then pass to the next player and then as other people are looking, you can actually do that at the same time, right? And be like, okay, this is where I want to play it. There is no restriction as far as the tile placement on here, which again helps keep the game simple, where it's not like, oh, you have to play it next to, another tile that you already have on here, or you have to share at least one. There's none of that. You take the tile, you place it down however you want it, wherever you want it. And so that keeps it simple, and can really be interesting. I mean, if you had more restrictions, it would really limit your strategic placement of these. So, I may want to go for a really big forest area. I may want to try to get lots of different forest areas. So maybe I wouldn't want those connected. Okay, so each round, you get these tiles. You're going to go around. I'm going to pick one, whatever. And then it's going to go on to the next player. Pass the first player token. They're going to flip over these 5 tiles. They're going to get first dibs now. And pick one of those, add it to their world, and then pass these on to the next player. They're going to pick one. Okay, and you just keep doing that. And once we've gone through all the rounds, you're going to have a completed world. and hopefully some animals that you've acquired throughout the game. And then you may get some bonus scoring if you're playing with the natural habitat cards. And that's basically it. So as you can see, the first 2 rounds, there's no scoring. But we can see, at least in this variant, the original one here, I can see all the different animals lined up. I don't know. It's like we want a new home and we need a new planet. And you are trying to create a planet that we want to get this owl to our world. And there are 3 different types of animals. Go over just real quick here. So 3 different types here. So the first one here is, this is going to go to the person at the end of that round. And so we've split this up right into different rounds. So this first round, at the end of that round, everyone's placed one. We're going to go ahead and look at our planet, and whoever has the largest region, which a region is made up of all these triangles, so these are all connected, right? So this is one region of 3 areas of forest, okay? So largest region that does not touch water. So it cannot be, after I connect all of this, it cannot be touching water, okay? So if I look at this forest region touching water, this forest region is pretty large. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but it's bordering water. That one's bordering water. This one is not. So for this person, they would have 2. 2 is the largest, okay? And whoever has the majority, whoever has the biggest one, they would go ahead and get this card. Now let's say there was a tie and one person had 5, the other person had 5. At this point in the game, all that's going to do is, if there's a tie, it's going to push it to the next round. So it's like, okay, I know I'm tied with this person. I got to be looking and see, what tile they get. Am I going to be able to secure that with these, new tiles that are flipped over? There's some more green. If they take that one, it's like, well, I'm not going to get that. So, I need to start looking ahead. Okay, what else can I go for? Because I'm not going to be able to get that this round. So it's really, really interesting. I like it. So there's the biggest region not touching something. And then you have the biggest region touching something. So this wants the largest ice region that is actually bordering the forest. So again, we have an ice region and it's bordering a forest, so that's good. And we have a 1 and a 2 region, so 2 is our largest. We'd see if anyone else has a region that meets this criteria and is larger than mine or not. The only other type, so those are the 2 types, and you can see the various combinations of that. Now, there are a few other cards in here. And there's 1 of each color. So this is the most regions. So not the biggest region with the most triangles, but separate regions. So this is one region. This is another region that carries over there. And this is another one. So there's 3 desert regions right there. So this person has 3. And whoever has the most different regions would get this card. Okay. Again, if there's any ties, it just goes on to the next round. And you're going to go ahead and play that. As you go through, you're going to move any of those unused tiles down the line. And yeah, I mean, that's basically the game there. And so some of my thoughts on this, I mean, again, this is not just like a gimmicky thing of oh, let's create a game where they create a 3D planet. And that's it. There's no meat to it. But this is not that. I mean, this actually is really, really cool, but very, very interesting to create something 3-dimensional, right? Because everything wraps around. And like if you were to lay this flat, right? If we were to lay this flat, and I take some of these tiles, you can see it doesn't work. Like this is not touching that. But as you were to pick that up, I think if you're familiar with like magformers, pick it up and it click, click, click. You create this three-dimensional world, and it's really awesome. And the fact is that this actually wraps around and can interface with tiles on the other side, and so it's all connected. Really, really fun. Really, really enjoy this one. And again, the core element of this is so simple. Of, hey, you just need to choose one of these and add it to your planet. Now, obviously, depending on like the kid's age and their familiarity with games and kind of strategic thinking, generally, they're gonna, oh, I need to get a lot of green, or I need to get a lot of this, but they may, in their laying of the tile, not pay attention necessarily to the restrictions. So that's one thing I noticed with younger players. They get excited just about trying to get a lot or big regions, or if you do play with these cards, they'll just kind of focus on that. Which, I mean, if you think about it, so you're looking at 1 or 2 points. There's 20 cards in this round that you play in. There's actually a lot more than that. So we deal out 20 cards. There's a big chunk that we're not playing with. I think there's like 45 total. But as you get these different cards, they're 1 or 2 points. Whereas if you look at this and you can get 23, you get like tons and tons of mountains, that's 10 points right there. I mean, that's either 5 or 10 animals. And so they can make a big difference in the actual end scoring. But really, really great. You get some variability with the cards there, how the tiles are, laid out here. And it works really, really well. Has a great table presence, and it's really, really fun building your own planet. And really, really enjoyed this one. Again, for 2 to 4 players. Blue Orange Games just continues to come up with these really, really cool games that have like a tactile or a spatial element to it that's just really exciting and really cool. So that is how Lou sees it.